Hi everybody, Robert Dyer, and welcome to the Robert Dyer channel, where today I'm reviewing the strange world of Marvel's Doctor Strange, the new movie, as well as this fabulous official Doctor Strange movie magazine. Now, so far in setting up the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've had the Earthbound superheroes. Then the later movies, they started to show the worlds beyond Earth and the various threats and allies that will be coming to Earth from there. And now with Doctor Strange, we're entering the world of other dimensions and the supernatural, but with some basis, I think, in scientific reality. And you have one of the most complex and limitless characters of the Marvel Universe, with Dr. Stephen Strange, who is a very successful neurosurgeon who then goes off a cliff in his supercar, and his nerve damage in his hands is so severe that he has to end his career. So he then begins searching all over the world for a cure for his hands, which leads him to Kathmandu, Nepal, where he seeks out a guru known as the Ancient One, who turns out to be the supreme sorcerer protecting Earth. None of this makes any sense to him at first, but along with the audience, then he begins to learn about this other whole side of what's beyond the reality that we see, and so gradually he puts his intellect to work in the direction of studying these ancient texts and how to harness and utilize these powers. And then here in this magazine you've got Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. You have an interview with each actor, and many of the characters have undergone transformations. Mordo has become a black character. The Ancient One has gone from an Asian character to being essentially a woman from Ireland in the past. There's been some suggestion that that was a racial, that's racially offensive to have switched the character. Some people have said it was to avoid offending the Chinese government so that the movie can do well there. There's no doubt things have been changed. The romantic interest for Doctor Strange is not the one you would ordinarily most associate from the comics. It's a different character. One Asian character they've added in is Wong, who seems like he's going to play a significant role in this Doctor Strange universe, if not other Marvel movies, but specifically to this. And then on the opposing side you have Caecilius, who came to the temple much like Doctor Strange did as a broken man, and he's gone essentially to the dark side, and ultimately it is up to Doctor Strange to defend the three sanctums on Earth, but also Earth itself. So I think the A-list cast definitely paid off in this, although I think it would have been even better if they'd had an A-list actor who could really chew scenery as the villain. That's more of, I think, a scripting issue than it was for the actor who had to play the villain in this one. He can't say what you didn't write for him to say. Benedict Cumberbatch, it's really his movie. He's fantastic in this, as he is in most of the things he's done. He seems to be the go-to guy if you have an iconic character. Even though I think in the one case when he was Khan that it was really hard to top Ricardo Montalban and the screen presence he had. But he starts off at the beginning. There isn't really a good photo in here of it, but he doesn't look much of anything like Doctor Strange. And then by the end he is very much in the costume, facial hair, haircut, just about what you've always thought Doctor Strange should look like. It's much more of a physical transformation than, say, Tony Stark in Iron Man, where it's not just the character going from a selfish man all about himself to now being this guardian, and his primary goal being to help others, but also an equally dramatic physical transformation. And of course, I like this character, much like the Scarlet Witch and the Enchantress. It's really a character that's on a level beyond a superhero. You can change time, restore life. It's a tremendous array of godlike powers that some of these characters have, and in this sort of universe they've made for this movie, there's a suggestion that there's also a price to be paid, however, for exercising these type of powers, sort of a Frankenstein type of moral conundrum there of humans acting as gods, and whether they ought to be doing that or not. But I thought these were the best 3D effects of the year. This is definitely one to see in 3D. Some of the big set pieces. This soundtrack is probably the second best of the year behind Batman vs. Superman. A lot of organic rock music instruments, sort of like somebody pulled out a unreleased track from Asia or the later Yes or something. There's also quite a bit of comedy in this movie, and the audience was laughing throughout, so it's not one of those dark and totally dreary affairs, even with all the dramatic significance of what's going on. And also, I think the ending of the movie is very much in line with the character himself, because without giving anything away, I mean, you can be sure he's going to go on to another movie, we all know that, but the way that he defeats the ultimate challenge at the end is almost purely an intellectual solution that he comes to, rather than most of all the other Marvel movies end with people punching and shooting. So very much in character of a man who's supposed to be a brilliant doctor, and I thought that was very appropriate. And speaking of the ending, do not leave the theater until the film stops going, because there are two bonus scenes at the end. One of them sets up one of the next Marvel movies for next year, and seems to almost suggest that Doctor Strange will be in that movie, hopefully. And it also sets up Doctor Strange #2. So overall, I can think of a few things I would have done differently, particularly with the villain. But having said that, there's so many ways they could have gone wrong with this movie that they didn't. And the great casting and performances, I would all around say this is a very solid 4 stars and a must-see if you're a fan of Doctor Strange, and probably a must-see if you are if you want to know everything that they're going to refer to in the Marvel Universe going forward. And as just if you're an ordinary moviegoer, I don't think you'll pass on if you don't see it, but it is definitely worth your money to go see, just with the acting and the story and everything. Now, as far as the magazine, you've got, as I pointed out, the different cast interviews. You've got interviews with the director, executive producer. They've got the wardrobe in here, which was, again, they did a fantastic job. You've got some of the objects. The Eye of Agamotto plays a very significant role in the late part of the movie, as you'll see. You've got Doctor Strange's watch, his tablet, x-ray of his hands, his medical file after the accident. You got his knapsack and his hand-drawn map here as he's searching for the Camertage temple. This is the book that he is a breakthrough for him, that he's not supposed to read, but that has a lot of the powers. There's even an article in here about how they developed the hand movements that the characters use to cast these various spells. And you've got some images of some of the biggest moments in the movie. So you have just about everything you would want to know. Very high quality, heavy, glossy pages, and a $9.99 price, I believe. Definitely a worthwhile purchase for fans of Doctor Strange. Always good to see a movie magazine when there are so few these days. So I would go ahead and give this 5 stars, especially given for the price. Hope you like this video. Share it with your friends. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.